So last section of the marketing part of Unit 1, niche markets, looking at niche markets. So let's just jump in. When we're looking at niche markets, it's quite interesting to look at what mass markets are. So mass markets are when the business offers an almost identical product to all consumers and promotes them in almost the same way. So, I mean, it's hard to get a product that's completely mass market because there are regional variations in all of these products, but Coca-Cola, McDonald's and Microsoft computer software tend to be quite similar regardless of where it's sold. Whereas a niche market is a market where you're just aiming at a very small segment of the market. So it follows on from segmentation, but you tend to be going for a small segment of the market. So specialist food shops, boutique clothes shops. And again, when we were looking at segmentation, it's like, why would you ever do this? Because it's going to be a really small market. So your kind of the maximum amount of revenue that you're going to get is going to be limited, or the maximum amount of customers that you're going to get is limited, and you're sort of indirectly excluding a lot of other customers. So why would you do this? You may find that there's a segment of the market, a really small segment of the market, that's been really overlooked by other competitors. So there's a gap in the market, there's a niche. Sometimes people call it a niche in the market, when actually what they mean is there's a gap and you can avoid competition that way. And if you're avoiding competition, you might even be able to charge quite a high price, a premium price for your product, and have quite a good profit margin on your product, because there aren't many people that service this niche in the market. You can also, by targeting a smaller subgroup of the market, you can focus on their needs better. So you could alter those 4 Ps to suit them a lot better. They might be willing to pay a high price. They might be very loyal, and loyalty means repeat purchases. However, if you're very, very successful at doing this, you may find that you attract competition, and sometimes from bigger companies. It doesn't just have to be small companies that are aiming at these niches. Now, an example of this would be if we look at record shops. So you might not know what a record shop is, but a place that you used to be able to go and buy music from, particularly records. So in days gone by, before iTunes, you used to have like little local record shops, and you could some of them used to be, you'd have your big ones like HMV or R-Price that doesn't exist anymore, but you'd have your small little local independent stores that sell kind of niche music, obscure music, rare music, and people would go there and they'd be, you know, willing to pay really, really high prices for these really rare items. So I'm just thinking, my brother used to be really into Nirvana, and he has all these like rare records and things like that. But now there are still these niches. So some people still want to buy really rare versions of Nirvana tracks from 92 or whenever it was recorded. But you can actually just get them on iTunes these days, because, you know, with the kind of advance in technology, they can store lots of really kind of obscure things, not really take up very much memory. It doesn't really cost them very much to do so. And once in a while, they get someone who's a big fan and they buy them. So, you know, these days with technology developing, we do get more and more large companies being able to service these niches. Another problem is for a small business, these small medium enterprises, they often usually only have one product targeted at one segment, and this can be very risky. And the reason is, you know, if you only have a few customers, and say tastes and fashion change, or there's, you know, a development in technology, for example, like iTunes, that means a lot of your old independent record stores have disappeared because they didn't necessarily diversify. So my local record store, my high street, actually sells guitars now as well. So they've sort of had to diversify into other ranges, because they're not going to make a living just selling music when people can so easily access it legally through iTunes, or even illegally. And niche markets often have small numbers of customers. Two things to say about this. You know, the maximum amount of revenue that you're going to make is sort of limited. But also, if you say you have kind of 10 devout customers, if you lose 2 of those customers, you've had a 20% swing in demand. That's a really big swing in demand. You know, think about how many customers McDonald's would have to lose to have a 20% decrease in their demand. It would be thousands of customers. So if you niche market, you've got a small number of customers, a loss in those customers could cause a big swing in demand. On the other side, you know, gaining customers cause a big swing upturn in demand, but it might be hard to attract those customers if you're a small business and you've got a small amount of marketing budget. Your advantages of mass marketing. So this wouldn't be a question. This is just to try and get into your mind the differences between mass and niche marketing is that you can manufacture really, really large quantities and they're all the same. So you get these economies of scale, and you can generate really high kind of profits from using this. Stack them high, sell them cheap kind of way of selling. So high sales, low average costs. But the problem with mass marketing is if you're not tailoring it towards your customers' needs, then you're going to get competitors that come along and are more effective at targeting the products. So that is niche marketing. Make sure you know your definition and make sure you can explain the advantages and the disadvantages of niche marketing to businesses.